In the cold glare of the morgue at 2:14 a.m., the base commander pointed straight at her and said, "You were the last one with him. Now he's gone because of you." The entire night shift froze. No one knew the woman they had just humiliated was the only reason the lieutenant was still breathing. And no one had any idea what those hands could really do. What was hiding beneath those teal scrubs? For 14 straight months, Elena Vargas had made herself small at Fort Liberty Medical Center in North Carolina. Single mother, quiet nurse, shoulders curved, eyes on the floor. Oversized scrubs rolled twice at the wrists so no one noticed the faded tattoo on her forearm or the tremor she kept buried deeper than any chart. She chose the base because it was large enough to disappear inside. She needed it that way. Her daughter Sophia was 8. Every night Elena kissed her goodnight on the cheek that still smelled of strawberry shampoo and promised tomorrow would be better than the whispers at school about why mommy never talked about her old job. The lie kept them both safe. Lieutenant Ryan Hale arrived 4 days earlier on a blacked-out flight from a raid nobody at the center was cleared to discuss. Elena drew the overnight rotation. Something in the scar pattern on his hands matched ghosts she had spent 3 years trying to forget. So she checked his vitals by hand. Never trusted the machines. Adjusted his positioning every 30 minutes. She did exactly what the old training demanded, even though that training had nothing to do with nursing school. According to the chart, he died at 1400 hours on a Tuesday. Elena never believed the numbers. Commander Marcus Hale found her outside the surgical wing. Crisp Brioni dress uniform razor sharp. Patek Philippe catching the fluorescent light. 2 attending physicians. A resident. Half a dozen nurses suddenly very interested in their clipboards. His voice stayed low, but it carried the weight of 31 years of giving orders that broke men. "You were the last one with him. Now he's gone because of you." Elena kept her eyes down the way she had trained herself. "I followed every protocol, Commander." Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. He stepped closer, coffee and grief on his breath. "You've been here 14 months. Nobody knows where you came from. And my son is on a table downstairs with a tag on his toe." The hallway went dead quiet. When he walked away, the silence followed like smoke. Elena told herself she had heard worse in worse places. She gripped the edge of a supply cart until the tremor in her fingers settled. Dr. Alan Pierce found her later in the break room nursing cold coffee that smelled of burnt grounds and regret. "The optics are bad, Nurse Vargas. Junior nurse. No notable background. Alone with a decorated operator when he flatlined. There will be a review." She asked him the only question that mattered. "Did the monitors flatline before or after you called it?" Pierce's polished smile flickered. "The sequence is in the chart. I suggest you remember it exactly that way." By the end of shift, the rumor had turned cruel. 3 orderlies, Travis, Kyle, and Rico, decided Elena needed a lesson in respect. She should have gone home to Sophia. Instead, she walked down to retrieve a forgotten chart. They were waiting by the morgue elevator. "Look who showed up to say goodbye," Travis sneered. They grabbed her before she could react. The steel door swung open. Laughter bounced off the tiles. They half-dragged, half threw her across the room. She landed chest first on the sheet-covered body. Her palms slapped against cold skin. "Go ahead," Kyle laughed. "Lie with him. Maybe you'll learn what death feels like." The door slammed. Their footsteps faded. Elena lay frozen for 3 full seconds. Humiliation burned up her throat. Then her hands registered something impossible. A pulse. For beats a minute. Faint. Stubborn. Like a moth fighting the glass. Everything changed. The tremor vanished. Her posture straightened. The woman who had spent 14 months pretending to be small remembered exactly who she was. She pulled the sheet back. Ryan Hale's lips were faintly blue, but his carotid still fluttered under her fingers. Screaming for help would get her labeled hysterical. No one would believe her fast enough. Speed was the only thing that mattered now. She tilted his head, checked the airway. Began compressions with a rhythm no nursing textbook had ever taught. 30 precise beats. 2 slow breaths. The cadence of a combat medic who once kept 11 men alive through a night that never officially happened. "Come on," she whispered, voice steady for the first time in months. "You didn't survive that raid just to die on a steel table because everyone else stopped looking." A door opened down the corridor. Voices. She had maybe 90 seconds. She shouted one word sharp enough to cut concrete. "Code." Feet pounded toward her. She never broke rhythm. Dr. Pierce burst in first. A crash cart rattled behind him. Leads slapped onto Ryan's chest. The monitor that should have been flat jumped. Weak, erratic, but real. "He has a pulse," Elena said, hands still locked in cadence. "He never lost it completely. The readings were wrong or they were faked. I need epinephrine," and this table turned into a bay in the next 90 seconds. Pierce stood frozen exactly 2 heartbeats. Then training 1. "ICU 3. Move." They wheeled him out fast. Elena's hands never left his chest until the gurney was locked in place. In the elevator, the young resident stared at her like he had never seen her before. By the time they reached the unit, the whole hospital was buzzing. Commander Hale arrived still wearing the same uniform, face pale with disbelief. "Tell me this isn't a cruel joke." Elena met his eyes fully for the first time. "Your son is alive, Commander." The paperwork lied. Before he could answer, a new voice cut in. Master Chief Lucas Kane stepped off the elevator, dust still on his boots from a red-eye flight. He had served with Ryan on the raid. His eyes locked on Elena's hands and on the faded American flag patch she kept folded in her locker like a promise she hoped she would never need again. "That isn't textbook CPR," he said quietly. "That's battlefield rhythm. I've seen it exactly 3 times in 19 years. None of them were nurses." Elena felt the old instinct to shrink. This time she didn't obey it. The words hung between them like smoke from a spent flare. Elena's pulse hammered against her temples, but her hands stayed steady on the gurney rail. The faded flag patch in her locker had been her only witness for 6 years. Now it felt like it was watching her again. Master Chief Kane didn't press. He simply nodded once, the way operators do when they recognize their own. "Mom." That single word shifted the air in the corridor. Dr. Pierce cleared his throat. "We've got him stabilized. But the board, they're already circling. Administrative review at 0900. They want answers on why a night shift nurse countermanded a DNR." Elena's stomach tightened. She knew what that meant. The same polished shoes that had dismissed her application 6 months earlier would be in that room. Dr. Margaret Voss, chief of trauma, Brioni lab coat over a silk blouse, Patek Philippe glinting under the fluorescence. The woman who had looked at Elena's wrinkled scrubs and said, "We don't hire orderlies with delusions of grandeur. The supply closet is down the hall. Try not to get in the way." Voss had been the one to sign the original paperwork that declared Ryan Hale dead on arrival. Elena had read the report at 2:14 a.m., 3 nights in a row, the ink still smelling of fresh toner. She didn't answer Pierce. She simply walked back to the locker room, pulled the faded flag patch from its hiding place, and pinned it beneath her name tag. The fabric felt warm against her skin, like it had been waiting. The next 6 weeks became a grind measured in 12-hour shifts and whispered rumors. Elena documented everything. Invoice number 4471. The mismatched timestamps on Ryan's monitors. The missing 30 seconds of telemetry that had been accidentally overwritten. She rebuilt the rhythm logs by hand at her kitchen table each dawn, her daughter Sophia asleep on the couch with a stuffed bear clutched to her chest. That bear had traveled with Elena from Kandahar to this quiet suburb. Tonight, it smelled of crayons and hospital hand sanitizer. At the 45-day mark, she made the first quiet move. A single email to the hospital's risk management officer at 4:07 a.m., attaching a reconstructed waveform that no civilian software could have produced. The subject line read only, Correction to patient R. Hail, DOA March 14th. The reply came at 6:12 a.m. A meeting request. Closed door. No attorneys yet. Dr. Voss arrived in the conference room wearing the same scent of expensive bergamot that always preceded her. She didn't sit. Nurse Vargas, I understand you've been agitated since the Hale boys case. Grief can do strange things. Elena slid a single folder across the mahogany. Inside were 3 pages. The first showed the original flatline. The second, her own annotated recreation. The third, a timestamp screenshot from a classified field tablet. Coordinates 34.17 degrees north, 70.42 degrees east, showing the exact same compression cadence she had used in the trauma bay. The metadata listed the operator as Ghost Medic 7. Voss's manicured fingers trembled just enough to rattle her Patek. This is fabricated. No, Elena said softly. This is what 11 men owed their lives to on a night that never officially happened. Same hands, same count. Your monitors failed because someone needed Ryan Hale to stay dead on paper. I simply refused to let the lie finish him. She left the folder where it lay and walked out. The door clicked behind her like a round chambered. Word traveled through the hospital like distant artillery. By week 8, the ICU staff had started leaving small items at her station. A fresh set of leads, a bag of epinephrine vials, a handwritten note from the young resident. I watched you that night.
I'm sorry he froze.
Then came the subpoena. The boardroom on the 10th floor smelled of lemon polish and fear. 12 executives in Italian shoes sat along one side of the table. Commander Hale occupied the far end, metals catching the light from the tall windows. Master Chief Kane stood behind him, boots planted like he was still on that ridgeline. Dr. Voss presided at the head, her Brioni coat buttoned tight. The agenda listed one item: review of improper life-sustaining intervention, patient R. Hale. Elena entered last. She carried nothing but a thumb drive and the faded flag patch now sewn visibly onto her left sleeve. The room quieted the way combat zones do right before the first shot. Voss began with a crisp PowerPoint. Charts. Liability numbers. A projected $4.2 million exposure. She ended with the verbatim line Elena had replayed in her head for months. Some people simply aren't cut out for real medicine. Take your little textbook fantasies back to the supply closet where they belong. The clicker trembled in her hand.
Elena stood.
She inserted the thumb drive. The screen changed. Not a slideshow, a live feed. On it, Ryan Hale sat upright in a VA rehabilitation bed 2 floors below, breathing on his own, eyes clear. Beside him was a second monitor showing real-time vitals synced to the exact compression rhythm captured that night. A quiet voice, Ryan's, came through the speakers. I was never dead. I was hidden. Someone wanted my father's testimony buried with me. Nurse Vargas brought me back because she recognized the signature of the only medic who ever kept me alive before. Her signature. The room froze. Elena spoke into the silence. 11 men on a mountain that doesn't exist on any map. One of them was your son, Commander. The same hands that carried him down that slope at 0:30 were the hands you watched tonight. I didn't come here for a job. I came here because someone tried to kill the truth by killing the witness. That stops now. She turned to Dr. Voss. The woman's face had gone the color of old ash. The private apology happened 43 minutes later in the empty stairwell between floors 7 and 8. Voss's designer heels echoed against concrete. Her voice cracked on the first try. I saw the scrubs, the single mother address, the gaps in your official record. I told myself it was incompetence. I was wrong. I was arrogant. I nearly cost that boy his life because I couldn't see past my own reflection in the glass. Elena studied her for a long second. The flag patch on her sleeve caught the emergency light. Arrogance almost cost 11 men their lives once. I forgave worse than you that night. I'll forgive you too. But the paper trail stays. The truth stays. Voss nodded once. A single tear cut a clean line through her foundation. The public turn came 3 days later in the same boardroom, now packed with hospital staff, 2 local reporters, and Ryan Hale himself in a wheelchair at the center of the table. Commander Hale stood at his son's shoulder. Master Chief Kane flanked the other side. Dr. Voss stepped to the podium without notes. Her hands no longer shook. I stood in this room and called a decorated combat medic useless. I mocked the very hands that had kept men alive when every textbook and every monitor had given up. I signed a death certificate that was a lie. Today I rescind every word. Nurse Elena Vargas didn't just save Ryan Hale. She reminded every one of us why we wear these coats in the first place. I was wrong. Publicly. Completely. And I am sorry. The room stayed silent for 3 full seconds. Then applause built, slow at first, then thunderous. Sophia's stuffed bear sat on Elena's lap in the front row. One worn ear finally mended with careful stitches the night before. In the weeks that followed, the hospital corridors felt different. The supply closet door now bore a small brass plate. Rivera Trauma Bay Prep. Ryan visited twice a week. Learning to walk again with the same steady cadence Elena had once counted against his ribs. Commander Hale left a folded American flag on her desk one Tuesday, the twin of the patch she still wore. Master Chief Kane simply nodded every time their paths crossed. The operator's version of a standing ovation. Elena still worked nights. Still came home to Sophia's sleepy smile and the smell of burnt toast. But now when she pinned the faded flag patch to her scrubs each evening, it no longer felt like a secret. It felt like armor finally allowed to breathe. And in the quiet hours before dawn, when the monitors hummed their familiar song, she sometimes caught herself counting under her breath. 30 precise beats, 2 slow breaths, the rhythm of a life reclaimed. Not every hero wears a cape. Some wear wrinkled scrubs and carry the weight of men who were never supposed to come home. They move through our world unseen until the moment the lie becomes too loud to ignore. Then they step forward, hands steady, voice calm, and remind us that the greatest comebacks don't announce themselves with fanfare. They simply refuse to let the heartbeat stop. And the rest of us, we finally learn to listen.